combined Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn into one character, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, essentially.
I mean, I understand the point of having him like Obi-Wan's his apprentice.
His inclusion
I like that.
Emphasizes Obi-Wan's growth. Yeah, I will say that.
I do like that. But they could have made the character a little bit more interesting.
Yeah,
or a lot bit.
Just show that like when he dies that we're actually we're sighing and it's not a sigh of relief, it's a sigh of distress. That's a fair spoiler warning, but if you haven't seen this movie, it came out 18 years ago. So.
I mean, you care when Qui-Gon dies because he's Obi-Wan's master.
Yeah, you feel bad for Obi-Wan. You don't feel like he died.
You don't care that he's dead. You're like, ah.
All right, so if we want to just go through more faults in this movie, want to just talk about Jake Lloyd?
Hello, guy.
Like, I'm sorry, but this guy is supposed to grow up and be the most feared person in the entire galaxy.
Now this is pod racing,
and his voice is about 8 octaves too high.
What's some of his greatest lines?
See, here's the trouble though. With Jake Lloyd, I think he did what he was given.
George Lucas was like, okay,
I think it was foolish to include Anakin Skywalker as a little kid, because no matter what you do, he's either going to be presented as like, oh, that's funny how dark he acts, or he's like, oh, why is he so bubbly? Like, including him as a little kid, I don't think was going to pay off whatsoever.
It was a tough choice to do that because you really needed to show development in the second movie.
Right.
If you were going to make that work, you need to show how he goes from being this happy young kid to the dark, twisted, sadistic monster.
It was Sand's fault, right?
Yeah, it was Sand. He doesn't like it.
He doesn't like sand. Everyone knows that.
And it gets everywhere.
It's next time.
Any final thoughts on Jake Lloyd's performance?
Where is he now?
In prison?
I do. No, he did get arrested for a DUI.
He was, yes.
I don't know if he's still in prison, but I remember that being in news
if you're out there,
in the
Jake,
last
we
6 months.
We don't.
Yeah, if you want to come on the podcast.
Come, please.
Sure, we can talk about maybe you have complaints about George Lucas. We don't know. We'll see.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Alright, moving on. Just Jar Jar Binks.
Okay, let's do it.
God.
A CGI abomination.
Oh no.
For the guy.
Well, all right. Let's address this at first. Do you believe the theory that Jar Jar Binks was originally intended to be a Sith Lord, and that is why Phantom Menace is so crappy, because it was so cut at the last minute, that whole plot line?
I do personally put stock in the theory that Jar Jar Binks was supposed to be a Sith Lord because of a lot of combined stuff from behind the scenes, where George Lucas, obviously the infamous video about, if you could Jake, can you shut it, or is it already shut?
It's already shut. That's the noise.
Alright, sorry, there was background noise in the back. No big deal. Anyways, George Lucas infamously said, what was it? It's all about Jar Jar. This whole trilogy revolves around Jar Jar.
Oh no.
And so, while it seems silly knowing what we know now, if they committed to that rumored storyline of Jar Jar being the Sith Lord,
would it make him a better character?
I think it would have made more sense, because there's a lot of videos of the Phantom Menace where they deconstruct all of Jar Jar's movements and how he would his acting clumsy, but also coincidentally staying alive the whole time, and you know what I mean, like blocking blaster shots. Oh, he just stumbled and he luckily blocked it.
Funny Gungan.
Yeah.
They say that he has a few Jedi mind tricks that he pulls too.
Yeah. And so I think
look at the funny guy.
One parallel I compare it to is, don't hate me for this, let me elaborate, but Yoda in the original trilogy, when we first meet him, he's a bumbling nuisance, and everyone's like, how is this guy supposed to be the Jedi Master? But because in the same film they address him to be the Jedi Master, we gain that respect and realize it was all a ruse. Now with this idea of establishing Jar Jar in the second movie as the Sith Lord, many people would reject that because they've already had this worked up notion of how they feel about Jar Jar in the first place, including what was the gap? 3 years? So it's hard for people to just, now it makes sense. People wouldn't accept it as much, and I think that's why, if that was the original intended storyline, I think it makes sense as to why they shied away from it. I kind of wish...
Didn't people who worked in the movie said no more? No more Jar Jar.
Yeah, they're
begging.
They're like, please, we can't deal with him anymore.
So they made him like a minor character.
Yeah, like in the other two movies, he doesn't really do much except promote Palpatine to Chancellor, right?
He does.
So that's another maybe George Lucas being like, see, like it could work, all right?
I buy into the theory just because it feels like the Phantom Menace is missing something.
Yeah,
and it would make so much more sense if that was the case.
If it wasn't just a movie about trade.
Because before it came out, there were major cuts, made to the movie, and I really think that could have been it.
Yeah.
Just what Mike brought up, the Trade Federation. Oh God,
where did they come from?
I don't
even pay attention.
I don't care. How about that?
I'll be honest. I've never paid attention to those scenes.
Mm-hmm. With
I don't care.
This movie has been a blockade.
Yeah, and why do they talk like why do they talk like they're like Japanese too? You know what I mean?
Aliens.
I know, but like
They're played by Japanese people.
I know, but they're not Japanese people though. Like it confuses me.
Instead of the hive mind of George Lucas.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting at the one when we go to Jar Jar's like home area to go underwater in Star Wars because
Gungan City.
Gungan City. We don't like normally. I think that's our only glimpse of like underwater aquatic life in Star Wars in total.
They could have done that with Camino. Camino would have been a cool place to see underwater.
Yeah. So, that was cool. It seemed like they were willing to take a risk there, but it's tough for this movie because obviously I didn't see this in theaters. I was born in the year 2000. It came out in 1999, but from what I know, the excitement around this movie was astronomical.
It was huge.
Star Wars
is back.
Yeah.
Coming back to the big screen for the first time in 17 years?
Yeah, it was a long time.
And I know one of my favorite movie reviewers, he drove 18 hours to his home in Canada to see it in his original home theater. And the first time people see it, they're like, oh, this is amazing. Like, Star Wars is back. Like, it was an amazing movie, but then it settles in, and you're like, damn, it's
bad.
Well, I think because you get left with the Duel of the Fates, and you're like,
whoa,
wow.
And people forget that the end credits, at the very end of the credits, you hear one Vader breath, and you get excited because it's like, oh, this isn't just one movie. Like, we're going forth with a trilogy, and we're going to show you how he became Vader.
Yeah.
But, overall, I think this movie really dropped the ball with its potential.
In some ways, I do feel bad for it because so much was depending on it to be this masterpiece of sci-fi. Because you got three of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time. They're like, look at us, we're the best. And so Phantom Menace is coming up to the bat.
Well, they tried to do new things. I think they with the Duel of the Fates, especially like that lightsaber fight was something that people had never seen before.
Because the lightsaber fights were so based off like longsword fighting, it was very slow movements, and then it gets fast. Which I like the fast stuff. I think that's another positive. I think the fast lightsaber battles instead of like long. You know what the hell? Like when Vader and Obi-Wan first fight,
it's very methodical and very.
I like the new the fight, the fast stuff.
The more choreographed stuff.
I like that.
I like it for the viewing portion, but at some points, especially Duel of Fates, because it goes on for a while, sometimes it does get a bit much throughout. But I like the more modern take on lightsaber fights.
Yeah.
I will say though, I really like the new trilogy fights the most because it mixes that like modern with the gritty of the old.
You can feel the weight behind the swings. I like that a lot.
All right, so overall, is that all we have to say about...
Oh, do you want to talk about like the little Easter eggs, like C-3PO? Like, he's here.
I thought the fact that Anakin created C-3PO was way too convenient.
Yeah.
R2-D2 was cool in this movie.
R2. Yeah, he saved the day.
Yeah.
He did.
As always.
Was he the most, did he, do the most in that movie for the world?
Maybe.
I feel like... Without him, wouldn't things have been much worse? What he got on a ship and he stopped the blockade, right? Didn't he stop the blockade or something like that?
Yeah. No,
R2 did have a big role in the movie overall.
A tin can had a big role. He's more than a tin can. We love R2. What about Padme? Care about her?
Oh yeah, we didn't really touch on Padme. I thought I did like the twist. of that. Yeah, I did like that twist. Mm-hmm. That's another positive I'll throw in.
Her handmaiden
When I first saw this movie, I don't know how young I was, but I did not see the twist coming. I remember for sure. I remember knowing Natalie Portman was in the movie, but I just didn't know. I didn't see the twist coming beforehand.
Was that one of her first big breaks?
No, it was close to it, but I feel like she was a little established beforehand.
Yeah, to get that role, I guess.
Yeah. All right, so...
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan?
Do you want to talk about... I think the best performance in the movie was...
definitely.
Yeah,
for sure. And he set up what he would fulfill throughout the trilogy.
I feel like he's...
with a great performance as Obi-Wan.
I think all the prequels are made better because of Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor is the gem of the prequel trilogy.
In a world full of dust and
sand
and untapped potential and sand,
battle droids.
Ewan McGregor really does shine as Jake put it, the jewel of the prequels. Just to wrap up this review, we're going to give our scores. I'm going to go with a 4.5 out of 10. I don't like this movie. I'm just going to put it like that, and that's why this gets a failing grade from me personally. Jake?
I'm going to give it a 4.5 as well.
Okay.
I was going to give it a 4, but I mean, we wouldn't have Star Wars again without this movie.
Very fair.
Oh, yeah. I'll give it a 3 out of 10 because I get bored by it, and if it's boring, I think that's worse than being bad.
That's true.
Bad movies can be watchable, but this is at some points extremely unwatchable.
Very, very fair. All right, so with that said, I think it's time to roll credits. So just to wrap up today's podcast, we're going to all give our actors of the week. My personal actor of the week is Dacre Montgomery from Stranger Things 2. He plays... What's his name again? Is it Billy? Billy. All right, that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure I was right. I really like his character so far in the season. I'm not done with Stranger Things 2 yet. Yeah. That's why we don't have our review special out. 6, right? Episode 6. And you're on episode 6 as well, Jake?
Yep.
Yeah, so we're going to try to get that special review out this weekend if possible. Just based on progress in personal lives. Of course, college is coming up, applications. For us, we have rigorous rehearsal schedules for the show coming up.
My actor of the week, Noah Schnapp, I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah.
He plays Will. I think he should get an Emmy for that performance.
He's so far in the series. He is amazing.
It's his
Absolutely.
Show. He's an amazing actor.
Well, that's a hot take, but my actor of the week is Jake Lloyd.
Okay.
Hey, pal, if you're listening, I want to talk to you.
Give you a little combo.
Yeah.
All right. So, anyways, what to see this weekend? Go out and see Thor Ragnarok. Yes. It's the latest Marvel movie. It's getting rave reviews.
The best reviewed Marvel movie.
That's what people are saying. So we're gonna go out and see it this weekend, and hopefully get your review next week. Speaking of which, next week is going to be a busy week. We're gonna try to get 2 episodes out just with Ragnarok and Attack of the Clones. Putting them in the same episode would kind of be too much for time-wise, so it would be to our best interest if we could possibly get 2 episodes out.
So you guys get 2 episodes. That's
cool. It would be amazing if we can. Follow us on Twitter at Real Talk Pod. That's Real REEL.
I've been doing a quote of the day every day. So
and those are looking great. Yeah. Always have a GIF attached and a very relevant movie, no matter what. Did Halloween movies throughout October. Now transitioning just to more classic movies.
Stuff.
But yeah, follow us on Twitter for any updates. We're now on YouTube. It's kind of hard to find us since it's a brand new channel, so just look at us on Twitter again to find the link to that. Furthermore, we have a Gmail account. Please email us mailbag questions because we'd love to start a mailbag segment or even like a weekly show.
That'd be cool.
Really easy the Real Talk Podcast at gmail.com. Literally just the name of the show at gmail.com. Find us on iTunes by searching my name, Liam Crowley. Subscribe, rate, and leave a review, and we're going to give you a shout out on next week's episode. Yeah. All our reviews are from people we know so far, so it would be kind of pointless to shout them out. But anyways, leave a review. We would really appreciate it. Just looking to the future, like I said, Stranger Things 2 special episode, hopefully out this weekend. Follow us on Twitter for our updates. Next week, trying to get 2 episodes with a weekly Star Wars review as well as Thor Ragnarok. With that said, I've been Liam Crowley.
I've been Mike Gillis.
I'm Ben Jake Leone.
And it's been real. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
A club is the best place to find the lovers, so the bar is where I go. Me and my friends at the table doing shots, tripping fast and then we talk slow. Come over and start up a conversation with just me, and trust me, I'll give it a